All right. This here is an extension activity. So if you finished the drive, you got graded on it, you had your help card up, Mr. B said it was good. Now we can go ahead and take the next step because you were the best, you're the brightest. You really want to get into this and you really want to create a great video game. So to make it even better, we're going to take it to the next level. You can click on My Stuff up in the upper right-hand side here, that little folder with the S on it, and it brings me to my projects, and I'm going to be able to open up my Drive project. If it gets me to this screen right here, I need to see inside to get my stuff going here. So I'm going to take this to the next level here. I'm going to make it a little bit cooler. So what I'm going to do first is work on my costumes. So I have my Scratch costume here at the bottom, or the Sprite costume, which is the purple car here at the bottom. Come on, right there. So if I look at my drawings here, if I look at my whole stage here, it looks a little rudimentary. It looks a little elementary. My drawings are crude. My background is crude. To make a really cool looking video game, I need graphics, of course. So let's look for some new graphics. So in place of this car, I can go to, that's right, the Nitro Type dealership. So I could go over here to Nitro Type. So create a new tab, Command T on the keyboard will create a new tab. I can go to Nitro Type, and then I can scroll through the dealership and look for a new fast car to add to my thing. So how do I download it? I hold the control button and I click on the car, or I right click if I have the right click button, and I'm going to save image as. It says it's going to be saved as 25 large, and it doesn't matter what you name it. You could just hit save, and it gets downloaded to the downloads folder. Now I need, of course, a nice background next, a track. So what I do, Command T, I open up Google Images, and I scroll and I look for what you see here, racetrack overhead view, a racetrack overhead view. And I can also ask for, in the tools, I can ask for a large. So I'm going to go to size over here and say large. And this will give me a very clear, high resolution photograph or piece of clip art that I can then use. I don't necessarily need a great piece of clip art, but it's even better if I do. So you have some tracks here, but this is missing some stuff. And I also have this track, which looks like a video game. So I'm going to use this one in this case. So again, I click on this, I open it up, I see what it looks like here in a larger image, and then I control and click and save image as. And again, I just hit return when this dialog window opens for save. I hit save and it goes into my downloads folder again. Now I'm going back on the Scratch Drive project over here, and I'm clicked on my car, okay, and I go to Costumes tab. So I may be on this Code tab right now, but I could switch over to Costumes tab, and if I click on my car in the stage, it'll automatically change the costume to be that purple car so I can see exactly what I'm doing. This time I'm going to go to the bottom of that window right there where I see the Choose Costume script Scratch cat, and I'm going to go up to Upload Costume. So I scroll up to Upload and I click on that, and then I go to my Downloads folder right here where you see in this box. I go to Downloads, and there are my two things. Right now I'm looking for a costume for my sprite, so that is the car, which is 25 large as we talked about earlier. So I go 25 large and I click Open, and it drops a new sprite onto my drawing, and as you can see, it overtook the old sprite. Now the sprite's still there just in case I wanted to go back to it. The costume one is still there, but right now it is set to the yellow car. Now when I drew my original purple car, I drew it to the right hand side because the up arrow makes it go forward to this direction over here. So this car is actually in backwards. So to switch it around, I just flip horizontally and it goes the opposite direction. Now it's going to be driving straight when I tell it to because it's facing the same direction as my original. At this point, you could really stop right there and go ahead and just drive your car around. You click on the green flag to make sure that your script is running, and you go forward and reverse using the keyboard, and you could just drive your car around like you see here. Okay. However, if I wanted to make that background better, of course, I have to go down to the lower right hand side where you'll see your stages, and I can add a new stage, and I'm going to say upload backdrop. So if I click upload backdrop, I go over here, and this was the racetrack. Again, I click on the racetrack and click open, and I get a new backdrop. Okay, so I have a new backdrop here ready to go, and I could make adjustments to it if I wanted to, drawing adjustments right here. So it came in and it is in a different type of format here, but I can use this selection, see a selection window, to copy and paste the gray roadway over top of any cars that might be showing up on my raceway. So I can edit this. So I can Command C and Command V to paste. So I just selected a little chunk of the roadway just to copy and paste that color. So I could paste it again, move it over top of this car, and paste it again and move it over top of this car. At this point, there aren't any cars left on the track, so that's a good edit. Now I can switch it back over to my code, and as you'll see on your stage, the car is here, there's a new backdrop, and I can now have a new track that looks hot fire for me to drive along. Actually, I didn't fill the space, I didn't fill the stage, so I might want to go back and increase that picture so that it fills in all these gaps over here. So if I were to select everything, I can then increase the size and fill it in so that it fills in all those gaps. And I can weed out some of the corner shots right there. And now it fits the screen much better. And again, all I have to do is go back out of that backdrop to set it, and there it is. Set it and forget it. It is now locked and loaded, and I can now drive my new car. And I can adjust the size of my car. Of course, you won't know how to do that. You go back to the sprite down here. I click on the sprite, and I say I just want to make it a little bit smaller, 20% of its original size, and that made it even smaller here, and I can adjust the speed and everything else to make this game a whole new level. I hope you enjoyed. Taking this gig one step further, I could also add another car. So I could go over here and upload a new sprite just like I did before, grab a hold of another car, and it drops another car in. Again, I'll need to arrange it so that it's facing the opposite direction and resize it so that it matches the yellow car in the background here. And then I could also just take the yellow car script right here. I click on the yellow car, I grab a hold of that script, and I drag it right on top of my other car. So I grab a hold of this entire script, starting with the when click on, and I drag it over here, and it's going to drop it right on top of this car as well so that it will take the same functions, okay? And my script goes back into this box as well. So I go over here and I click on the car, and sure enough, there it is. Now all I have to do is arrange it, because when I press up, it's going to make both cars move over here. So if I hit this and I press up, it's making both cars move. So I need to make different arrangements for the blue car. So I can make on the other side of the keyboard, so I can play an opponent, I can use any of the keys. And right here, I'm going to use the A key and then the W key. So I'm looking at the keyboard here, and I'm saying down would be, or actually maybe put the W right here. So I go to W is the up, and the down would be the X key, and then my right would be A, or no, actually that's my left. So my right would be the D key, and the left would be the A key. Now that I've adjusted my size, I have my script new controls over here, and I have them facing the right direction. Now I have two separate controls on two separate sides of the keyboard, so now you could race your friends.